Hello, I hope you're doing well today, and if not, hopefully by the end of today's message, things will be better for you and have a little brighter outlook in life in general. If things are going well, be sure to share this message as well as whatever might be on your mind with your friends, family, and anybody who's willing to give you the time to listen. And if you like today's message, please feel free to like and share with somebody, and also subscribe to our page because it'll help spread the message that way also. Today we're going to continue with the book of Matthew, chapter 18. At that time the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" He called a little child and had him stand among them. And he said, "I tell you the truth, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven." Now, Jesus is telling us that if we don't humble ourselves, we won't even get to heaven. So what does that mean? It means that once we come to an understanding about exactly what God's will is for us rather than what we want for ourselves out of life. From the time we're young, we might have dreams and aspirations of the house we want in life, the job, and everything else. Well, there comes a time when Jesus says, okay, it's time to put all that aside and to think like you did when you were a child. Before you had all that, you lived with the simplest things in life. We were very carefree. We didn't have any worries. And that's what he's saying is return to that simpler place in time, that simpler place in our mind, and come back to that peace. And the only way we can get there is through Christ. And whoever welcomes a little child like this in my name welcomes me. But if anyone causes one of these little ones who believes in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a large millstone hung around his neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. Woe to the world because of the things that cause people to sin. Such things must come, but woe to the man whom they come. If your hand or your foot causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to enter life maimed or crippled than to have 2 hands or 2 feet and be thrown into eternal fire. And if your eye causes you to sin, gouge it out and throw it away. It is better for you to enter life with 1 eye than to have 2 eyes and be thrown into the fire of hell. So we've got to make conscious decisions of what we want to do in life. Do we want to do good and have fruitful things come from us, or bad things and bad things continue to happen to us? And it may, in a way, feel like we're having our hand cut off when we're out doing bad things and things continually bad happen in our life. So it isn't our hand that causes us to sin. It isn't our eyes that are causing us to sin. It's what's stored up in our heart as to what's causing us to sin. So a lot of what's stored up in our heart came from the earlier development in our years. So if it's something that's not pleasant to God, then we have to acknowledge its presence in our thoughts and pray to God to help us cleanse our thoughts and get those things out of us. But if we don't acknowledge they're there, then we're just stuck with them and we'll continually do the same things over and over and continually get the same negative results. See that you do not look down on one of those little ones. For I tell you that their angels in heaven always see the face of my Father in heaven. What do you think? If a man owns 100 sheep and one of them wanders away, will he not leave the 99 on the hill and go to look for the one that wandered off? And if he finds it, I tell you the truth, he is happier about that one sheep than about the 99 that did not wander off. In the same way, your Father in heaven is not willing that any of these little ones should be lost. So, no matter what we may think of what God thinks about us, we may think little of ourselves. We may say, well, God doesn't care enough about me. But think about this. He cares about all his sheep, all his loved ones, all his children. That's us. He cares about every one of us equally. And when we're lost and we come back to him, it brings him such great joy because the 99 were always safe. They always had him. They were always there with God. But the one that was lost for a little while, man, think how we are when we're out there lost. And then when we go back to God, how just joyful he's got to be. So we've always got to turn to him. And we're going to go ahead and end today's message right here. And I hope that something brighten your day, or there's some kind of message that we can share with one another and just be an encouragement to somebody. Plant seeds of hope where there is no hope in some folks, because we may never know who it is, and continually be humble. So you have a great blessed day, my friend. Peace and love to you and yours, and we'll talk to you soon.